Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creator Notes podcast, the podcast where you get up close and personal with your favorite creators, or maybe one you haven't met yet. And if that's the case, let me introduce you to someone. This is the MrLiveProducer. Hello.
Hello, how are you going today?
Very well. How's yourself?
Oh, it's been a very busy day. It's going to be a very busy week and month, as you know.
Look, as content creators, it's always good to be busy. As
Oh,
long
it
as it's
is.
like a controlled busy, it's happy, So,
Mm.
I've had the pleasure of meeting you a couple of times, and I'm very familiar with your content, which is, it's always for me, it's always the we like to call it wind down, but it's normally like as I'm sort of getting out of my content role, it's usually opening up and you're doing a bit of Beat Saber or something going on quite late,
Oh,
um, and it's always
I can tell you stories
shenanigans.
about that. I can tell you stories why I do so late.
Yeah, and I will sure we'll get to it. But before we get into the details of what you're up to now, we want to go back to how you got into, I suppose, content creation. It's very clear, given your background behind you there, that you're a gamer. So,
I have a few.
just a few. Yeah, yeah. I've seen the list of games, and it's impressive, even by my standards. It's out there, which is I thought I had a few, but.
I think the last count was about 2,100 physical.
So many. So let's go to the start. How did we get into gaming? How did that transition into content creation? How do we get?
Oh, gods. If you really want to go all the way back,
Yeah, why not?
first game I ever played was Snoopy Tennis on the old LCD handheld devices that you would get in 87, 88.
My, so like we're talking like almost that would be before Game and Watch even.
No, actually, it was at the same time as
Same time.
Game and
There you
Watch.
go. Yep.
So it's Snoopy Tennis, and then I had a little orange one which you played an escaped burglar, which I got away with taking to school because it had a calculator on it. So I was like, "Wait, what's this?" I was like, "Oh no, it's just my
A calculator.
Why is
Nice.
Why is there someone running across the field trying to get away? It tells me the long division."
The good old days before when the
Oh,
teachers had
so
no idea.
oh god, yes. So that was the first game that that was the first game that I played, and
Yep.
then I went to an Amstrad 6128 green screen with the actual disk drive on a green screen, and I learned how to program in BASIC on that because that was the only way you can get games working on that thing.
Right. Okay.
So I would actually sit down, work on BASIC, and program Solitaire.
Wow.
You used to get like these magazines in the day
Yep.
without in the back of the magazine there'll be like the code,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you would write the code out, you troubleshoot it with the syntax errors, and then you'll play the game for 5 minutes, then you got bored and deleted it.
That's right. It's almost the coding up and getting the game to run was almost as long as the game themselves. Yeah,
Exactly.
it was a great time. I mean, I was
Oh
I
yeah.
was tiny back then, but I very much learnt all that kind of stuff. I remember my old man made me learn how to do everything at DOS, and because like that's all we were going to afford for the longest time. It's like no
So let me guess,
console,
autoexe.back and config.sys,
all
you knew
that
how to
stuff.
get that ready for Doom and
Yeah,
getting the most out
Doom.
of EMS?
Yeah, Prince of Persia was a big one in our house.
Oh,
We
yeah.
absolutely adored Prince of Persia.
That was
Doom,
a
Commander
great
Keen,
game.
the original Duke Nukem, that was good as well. Jazz Jackrabbit.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah,
The
good
old
stuff.
Apogee game library.
Oh,
Halloween Harry, which
yes. Oh, Halloween Harry was great. Oh, man, this
it
was
was a beautiful game.
the
You don't
Zool. Remember Zool? It
Zool
was like it was like a reskin with like it was like sponsored by Chubba Chubs or something. It was such a
Oh
weird.
god, yes. Oh god, yes. That brings memories back.
Oh yeah, that was a great Lemmings as well. Whoa,
Oh yeah,
this
then
is
you had
like
Christmas Lemmings, and because it was like there was no such thing as there was DLC at the time, but to get the DLC, you had to go to a store,
yep, and
pay $10 for a disc,
that's right. Yep.
put the disc inside the kiosk, go through what's on the kiosk, and you could fit anything you wanted from the kiosk onto the disc, and you would pay for the disc and the one use license of it.
we've lost all our young audience. They're like, I don't know what they're talking about.
But the disc is what the save icon is now on the top left-hand corner.
That's how we explain it to them. It's a save icon, guys. They used to be physical things.
Yeah.
They used to hold 1.4 megabytes.
And then you would have to go and try to, at the time, game piracy was rampant, so you would have to try to make the disc hold 1.6 meg because that was the way they were doing the copyright protection. By forcing the disc to hold more than it should.
I remember, because I mean that was the golden age of like you'd just copy a disc and just give it to someone else and they'd put it in their computer
and hope that would work.
And I remember that Prince of Persia, we didn't have a legitimate copy of Prince of Persia, but they had it. They had an anti-piracy technique, which was in level 2, it will come up on the screen saying in the manual, page 3, paragraph 2, line 4, and then that you'd have to open the manual and go to that page and find that letter and then drink that potion to continue the game. So if you pirated it, you didn't have the manual. So we had like a photocopied version of them.
And then at the time, photocopying techniques were so bad.
Awful.
They were printed in red or blue ink. Very, very like awful. 10 to 20%. So you would have these books. You would, if you had a pirate version of a game, you would have these handwritten books of the entire manual, just because you didn't know what it would refer to. So you would actually, it would be the notebooks. And
literally, it was held together with sticky tape and just falling apart. And it was amazing. But people don't realize what gaming was back then. It was
God no.
Another thing altogether. They've got it so easy these days to
get off.
Download my entire game collection from 1990 in about 3 seconds now.
Oh god, yeah.
So obviously, you started out gaming really early. At what point did you sort of get into this? I guess the point where you're like, I'm going to do more than just play games. I want to stream it or record it.
Well, to answer that story, I've got to go again way back.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, my high school was very unique at the point. We actually had an on-campus film and TV production course. So we actually had the film and TV course at the school, and then under the main hall there was like almost like a studio system.
Oh wow!
And this was in the mid-90s.
Wow!
So we're talking old linear, non-linear editing suite is non-linear editing is what we use now, so we can move stuff all around.
Yeah.
I learned on linear editing systems, so you would actually have to go in order of what you wanted to edit.
Right.
So you couldn't easily go back and do everything. You would have to do everything in the order, and you can overlay stuff.
Yep.
As a video track, but you couldn't actually set everything up in a non-linear suite.
So hang on. So let's go.
I learned on VHS tapes.
Right. This is where I was getting to. Yeah. So it was digitalized, or was it
no? It was analog. All early analog tapes.
Right. So I'm thinking mid 90s. My school was lucky to have a computer.
So. Oh no, we were lucky. It was actually called the Design Technology Center.
Yeah. Okay.
So we actually had an Apple Mac there that had Premiere Pro and an input card on it. So we could actually get footage from all the stuff and edit it on Adobe Premiere 1.
Yep. The OG.
The first version of Premiere. So it was insane, the amount of tech that we had at that school. And I would actually be in the school, in the Design Technology Center, more often than out and about doing the normal kid stuff you'll do at that time.
Yeah, same.
Because outdoors is hot. In Australia, outdoors is hot. I prefer being inside learning shit and actually doing stuff than actually being out there running around and doing all that shit.
I feel that.
So there was also a photo course, a video course. I did pretty much everything that was there, and that led to being accepted as TAFE credits. So you can actually go to TAFE, and these were accepted by TAFE in their courses.
Okay. So you can study it, and not only does it count to your normal education, but it counts as credits towards the TAFE education.
Exactly. And for those who don't know, TAFE is TAFE in Australia is what community college is in America.
Exactly. Yeah. That's huge, actually.
It
Man,
was,
I
and
wish I had that.
a lot of people did. We actually on Wednesdays when people were doing their school sports at that time,
Yeah.
other schools would come in, go to the tech center, and actually train their kids there.
Huh. That's wow.
Yeah. Again, sorry, long story.
Yeah,
But
right.
knowing the backstory is really important because it does lead to where I am.
Yeah.
So eventually, when I left high school, I tried to get into film and TV, and I thought, well, let's see how far I can take it. And unfortunately, I couldn't get into the film and TV course at uni. But one of my backups was a diploma of information technology over
Yep.
at TAFE.
Yep.
And this was over at Alexander Hills up here in Queensland. I'm a Queenslander. I don't care. Literally, if you type my name into Google, you'll find everything you need to know about me. I don't hide it for obvious reasons we'll get to soon. So anyway, I did that, and then I did a year of programming in database design and
Oh.
database technology.
Yep. Yep.
Unfortunately, the programming language TAFE used was Pascal.
Pascal. I've never even heard of Pascal.
Pascal. Oh god, no! Don't get me wrong. It's a great early
Yeah.
programming language, but I learned more in the theoretical side of doing. Like I still use the concepts of data flow diagrams, conceptual schema
Yeah.
diagrams, all the
Yep.
stuff to actually do stuff in my streaming for my
Mm.
effect work and all that. I approach it as a flowchart. So how would I want my effects to go? And that was all learned at that course.
Yep.
But eventually, the next year after that, I thought, well, let's try to transfer into film and TV, which I did. And then I
Okay.
did 2 years of film and TV at TAFE.
Yep.
The advanced and both 1-year courses, advanced and standard.
Yep.
And then after that, I didn't touch film and TV again for about 10 to 15 years because, one, trying to get a job in film and TV industry is freaking hard.
It absolutely is.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine a few weeks ago who used to tutor at the New York Film School here in Australia, up the Gold Coast.
Yep.
And they said that 10% of any person who goes into a film and TV course
Mm.
would get a job. The 90% of it wouldn't.
Yep.
It's
I
even
100% believe that. Yeah.
It's gotten worse since a lot of the local content has been stripped.
Yep.
I
And
can
then
get into enough.
and then out of those people that get jobs, like it's all contract work that dries up.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a great dream, but if you want stable income, it's
If you want stable income, find your niche,
yeah.
which we'll talk to in a sec. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I did film and TV, and then I did 10 to 15 years worth of IT support.
Yep.
And just doing level 1 support for government. I did security work for a little bit, as in IT security.
Yeah.
That was a fun, interesting job.
Yeah, I imagine.
And then eventually a friend of mine messaged me and saying, hey, you know how to work a camera? You do anything this weekend? Come along. And that started my career, which I'm still going, in mixed martial arts and live streaming for those type of events.
It's such a turn.
Because I had the skills at the time. I still kept the stuff. I still did stills photography. I kept my eye into
yeah. But when you were
design.
doing that film course, did you ever think mixed martial arts? That's where I'm going to land. It's just...
Oh God, no! Mixed martial arts at that point wasn't even a glimmer in people's eyes.
True. Also true.
It was boxing at that time. Most of the time,
That's
you would have. And then eventually, I said, you know what? Screw this. If you've never filmed an MMA event before, it is insane. 2 people in a cage hitting each other. Imagine if one person lost and then the audience pretty much rioted. People were jumping inside of the cage, and here I am on this small little platform, the size of a phone book, being of the larger size that I am now, having people trying to jump over the cage to actually get into the cage to vent their frustrations at the ref.
Amazing.
And at the other people. I went, and I can actually say this verbatim, bugger this for a game of soldiers. I'm going to try something else. And I learned how to actually, at this point, put the content onto the computer to live stream the events.
Excellent.
So I could actually do the edit of the event live.
Yep.
So I eventually taught myself, all with analog technology at this point, by the way. So it wasn't easy to get digital equipment at this time.
Yeah, also extremely expensive.
Oh god, yes. And at this point it was, all right, let's try. Okay, we need to run RCA cables. All right.
Mhm.
All right. So RCA cable across this amount of distance won't work. Let's try RCA cables into a converter box, which converts it to a network cable, which then powers it across to the other end of the cable. And this is all analog technology using ideas for security cameras.
I'm having flashbacks because I've been exposed to this over the years, and every time that I get exposed to any of these sort of systems, I go, "No, thank you. It's someone else's problem. Who can we pay to fix this?"
I still have some of the equipment from those days. I still have the converter boxes I used to use because they come in handy.
I mean, yeah.
At some venues, they just don't have the tech.
Yep. And when you're doing these kind of events, you got to work with venues that aren't set up for this stuff. Yeah.
You have to pretty much bring all your entire kit because until you know the venue and figure out what you need to actually make the venue work.
100%. Yeah.
So eventually we found the right programs, we found the computers. And also at this time, I got hired at Briz 31, the old community TV station up here in Queensland.
Oh, yeah.
So I was hired there as facilities and also doing, I can't believe I'm going to say this, the old AFL show on Briz 31.
Okay.
I was there during those years before the whole
everything. Yeah.
If you know community TV, you know all the stuff that goes on community TV at that time. It was insane.
Yeah.
But the old This Town Tonight or whatever they called it.
God.
And it was all this old stuff, but I was learning and applying what I knew from my old film and TV days in actual TV studio, and I was director on a couple of these old Christian TV shows.
Amazing.
And I was doing the calls and all that stuff, and that was actually quite interesting. But you learn how to work with people.
Yes.
You learn how to work with cameras. You know what stage managing is. You know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's amazing the amount of people that would consider themselves like, hey, I'm good for TV because I stream on Twitch or whatever. So it's a different vibe, and it's one of those things. Although the technologies change, the kind of the etiquette is almost the same in like working with a studio in the way that everything has to work in a particular way. Otherwise, someone misses a step, it all fails. Yeah,
especially for like even now processes. You finish your camera, you give the camera to the digital tape runner. The digital runner, which then copies it off to USB and make sure it has a backup. Then there's a second backup, and then they give the camera back to facilities to recharge the batteries, give it back to the camera op.
Yep. It's amazing. The amount of people. So many people, right? That's exactly what I was going to say. I obviously don't work in television. I've done bits. But like every time I have like an opportunity to be involved in something that's on TV, I still get just enamored with the amount of people and how everyone kind of works like a fine-oiled machine. Everyone knows their part and their timing. Just go, go, go. Like recently, I did Deal or No Deal, and I didn't do nothing, but they do. They do 6 episodes in a day.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 a.m. and it's just round they go, round they go. Everything in, change, rotate. This person comes in, they did this take, and away they. And I did 3 days. Reasons. One of those days was like cursed, absolutely cursed. And we saw in real time, they skipped the step. And what happened was, and I'm going to do a video sort of explain the whole thing. The whole thing's wild. But the short version is, someone who was up on the stage holding the case, like they do in Deal or No Deal, had a heart attack and fell over. And
I shouldn't laugh, but that's fucking funny.
It shouldn't. Well, I'll give you a little bit more context because it actually does make it funny. It was the whole stick for this episode was that they were 000 operators, and it was like a family of 000 operators, and Grant Daniel, the host, was making a joke where he's like saying that, oh, so we sing Staying Alive when we do CPR, right? And as he's doing that, he has a heart attack and falls over. And it's just chaos, as it would be, obviously. It's the team had a huge amount of medical staff. Everything was sorted out immediately. They all got the medical attention. That's all fine. But it stuffed up the routine, right? So they go, okay, we'll take lunch. We'll have to come back and we'll restart. And then they restarted the next game. And then they did everything that they do. They picked the case and they come out, blah, blah, blah. And then they go, okay, open up, case 15. They open up case 15 and it says $250, but then 15,000 came off the screen. And everyone's like, what? That's what? And they're all saying, what's going on? It took them an hour to figure out that they forgot to switch the cases between the games. They switched the game number in the computer, but they forgot the cases, and it threw them off completely. And that the rest of the day, totally cursed. They did because it just they go. Everyone runs in a routine. Everyone knows their part, and they do it. And it's not like 5 people; it's like 30 people or more, and it's insane. So
you have your run sheets. You worked off your run sheet. If something happens that's on your run sheet, you go, "What the hell? Which department fucked up?"
yeah. And in this case, it was the game department, the prop department. I guess technically they didn't put that in cases.
Prop department, then probably the floor director would be responsible for that because
the floor director came out and was like, "We figured it out. This is how we stuff this up. We're going to pick a new game. You're going to watch us pick a new game, so you know that we're not rigging it, and then we're going to reset again." And then it was a
nightmare.
An absolute. There was shenanigans all day. The day was cursed. We ended up calling it early and leaving and come back another day and had to do so many days.
Oh god,
sounds
so much fun.
When I was growing up, I was like, yeah, I want to get into film and television in a very similar way, to yourself. And I've did all that sort of stuff. I even did a little bit of coding in database management. I learnt in Delphi was the code that I learnt, which doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think.
Oh no, when I was in high school, I can tell you the program that we use for database coding, and I bet you only 5 or 10 people know about it.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing was that it was Delphi, and I think the other one was like C++ was like the other option that they were gonna. And I'm like, we should have learnt C++.
No.
So that's out of the window.
Learned in was DBase 3.
Yeah, exactly.
An old ASCII DOS one.
See, and this is the thing. But the second I got exposed at all to the TV industry, I'm like, that's cool. That's hard work if you want to make a living.
No.
That's what it came down to. So
it's a nightmare to make a living in film and TV, and I count myself very, very lucky that I can even make it part of my career. Yeah.
So I absolutely resonate with everything you're saying, and for people that want to get into film and television, and still who haven't turned you away yet, you need to if you can't get find
what you're good at,
find some way to get experience, get exposed to it, learn. Because I learned live streaming and stuff I volunteered with a company that did like live events. I learned my editing through volunteering through an editing house at one point and stuff like that. Like I couldn't get a job, but I could get in. Like there's a lot of like youth organizations and mentor programs, even like TAFEs and stuff like that. A lot of them will take on people to help, just like resetting equipment and with events and stuff like that. It's just about getting the feel for it before you go, that's my career, I'm going to do that. You need to really understand that there's a lot of technical knowledge and it's very hard to be good at it. And work is hard to come by if you don't know what you're doing. That's just the facts.
Even just that, if you're going to be working in film and TV industry, personal grooming, you're going to be in close proximity to a lot of people. It's important.
Yes, I mean, I think in general, but yeah, it shouldn't have to be said, but yeah, I get why you're saying it.
Because
long days, close proximity, sometimes not the greatest conditions. It's like
for when I'm doing an event nowadays, it's leave home at 10, come back at 3 a.m. They are very long days.
Yep, that's normal.
It is
in that industry, yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
I own my own company for doing that stuff, and I go to pretty much every event here in Queensland because apparently I do a decent job. They hire me, which is for some strange odd reason.
I used to for experience just making films and stuff like that. I used to approach I had a cousin who was into motocross, and I
Oh,
used to go. I used to go to like Supercross events and stuff like that, and just be and I'd just slap a media badge on, and they'd let me into anywhere, and it was great. And I'd go and film and make promo videos and stuff for their sponsors and whatever, and just the experience of being boots in the ground, sometimes in the mud, trying to film stuff, make
yeah.
content without getting run over. It was a real learning experience,
Mm,
and I used to come out of it, and go, well, that didn't work out. I didn't get anywhere near the amount of footage I needed, or the stuff that you need and stuff like that. But like you learn in that
mm,
process, and you get better at it. And then next thing you know, I have other people go, "Hey, I saw you out the track. Could you do a video for me?" Away you go. Like it's about showing that you can do, you know what you're doing in some aspect, and you can do it, and then
mhm.
connecting the dots and getting in. But it's important to take that first step. Is part
Oh,
of
it
the point.
is.
Um,
No, having projects to work on is really important. I find you learn a lot more if you have an
mm,
end goal in mind, and then
yes.
you do your research and find out, well, how do I get to this point? And that comes back to database design, flowchart design, all that.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, so I was doing IT support. I was doing IT. That eventually wrapped up. And then I thought, well, bugger this. Let's try and make film and TV a going concern.
Yep.
And then eventually, we got pretty well known. The guy who ran the company eventually sold on to another person. They ran the company for a couple of years. Then they said, MLP, do you want to take over? And I said, all right. So I inherited the company from two owners.
Wow. Okay.
I had at the time I owned all the equipment, so they were paying me a higher rate, so they would hire
Yeah. Yeah.
me
Yep.
another rate to hire my equipment. And that comes to another way. If you want to make money in this industry,
Good
own your
idea.
equipment
Yeah.
and
That's a
offer it
great
for
idea.
hire. So even if you're busy doing one event, if you've got like two or three cameras that's doing nothing,
Mm,
and a person comes, hey, you need a couple of cameras for this event. What do you have? Just hire the equipment. That way, the equipment isn't staying stagnant; it's still being used,
making
and
money.
you're earning money on the side. You always want to
Yeah.
look at the point where how will the company go when you're not there, or if you get sick, how will the company keep making money? And by hiring out equipment, teaching people under you to do the job, which is
Mm,
what I'm doing at the moment. I'm teaching a couple of people to do my job because reasons, which we'll get to soon. And I thought, well, at this, which now leads into my content creation journey, because I was very, very unique and fortunate that I had a lot of equipment at home, so I would actually use it for stuff which I was working on, mostly
yep.
combat sports stuff. And then my partner got sick. My partner has not grand mal but petite seizures, very, very small micro seizures.
Yeah. Yep.
And when she gets very sick, she exhibits some uh, unique side effects sometimes, depending on how sick she gets. And at this point, we didn't know what it was at the time. It was actually post-ictal psychosis. She got really sick and blood infection, and then some of the blood got to the brain and gave us a post-ictal psychosis. For those who don't know what post-ictal psychosis is, this is how it's explained to me. Imagine that you want to say the sky is blue. Your brain thinks it, and you then want to say something, and you say, I like the color orange. There's a disconnect between what you think and what you say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it plays havoc with mental, and it plays havoc with relationships and all that stuff. Because you need to have a very strong relationship to even get past something like that.
Absolutely. Yep.
So at this time, I was home alone, and we had a dog. We have a dog still. His name is Ezio, named after Assassin's Creed 2 Ezio, which is
Fantastic.
a beautiful name for a dog. And he was out getting trained getting like puppy school.
Yep.
And I thought, well, at this point in time, I was playing Just Cause 3. And I thought, well, I'm lonely. Let's get on stream. So
Yep.
I set up OBS at the time because my normal program to doing this stuff wouldn't accept audio input from the computer. The program I normally use for work is called vMix, and I use OBS as my
Yeah.
broadcasting
Streaming.
software.
Yep.
And I thought, well, flip it, let's give it a try. And I started streaming myself playing Just Cause 2. Oh, 3.
3. Yeah.
And it just took off from there. I didn't get any views, as you normally do when you're just starting out, but
Yeah.
just the act of talking to yourself. Actually, I can tell you exactly the year. It was the year Overwatch got released.
2016?
I can't remember. I just remember
I want to say.
Overwatch
Yeah.
got released.
Yep.
Then at some point during the first year of that game's release, she went into hospital.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I think because I was very much not to the level of that, but like I was very much in a similar boat, and I found that um, creating content was giving purpose.
Mm.
So even if no one was watching it, you're creating something, got a goal in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do stuff, and it is. I don't want to say like a coping mechanism, but
It's a coping
it's a
mechanism.
coping mechanism. And I was very much the same. And a lot of people are like, why have you done this for so long? And I had a very sick partner for years, and it was like even though it wasn't like we couldn't do stuff. It's that we couldn't afford to do stuff. It was it costs a lot of money to have illness around.
It does.
It's a fact. And my outlet was always getting online or making YouTube videos or just doing things that I could do and I could afford. And I mentioned this in a previous episode, and I talked to someone about this recently. But like I couldn't afford to buy games, so I'd rent them from the library.
Mm.
And like we used to do, I used to have on early days of the ZLB community firing up, and that was we used to do cheap ass Tuesdays, and it was whatever free demo, free game, something we could rent, we could get, and that's how we would make content by playing these free games and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you do what you can,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of people out there that just go, I can't have the best camera or best computer or best setup,
God,
then I
no.
can't do it. But it's not always about that.
Oh, God, no.
Sometimes
People will come for you. If you are a genuine personality, people will come and watch you.
Yeah.
Even if your community is like 10 people who constantly watch you, you are bringing joy into those 10 people's days. They are there to watch you.
Exactly. And people stream for different reasons, as we just said. And like not everyone's out there to make the big bucks. No one wants to be Mr. Beast. Some people just do it for the love of the games, the love of community, or just the love of sharing that with someone. And that's important as well.
Oh, as we go back to where we started, for me it was coping and trying to deal with my partner being in hospital, then the mental ward, then back in the hospital and back to the mental ward. She was in there for a while.
Yeah.
And eventually one day the post-psychosis just disappeared. So she was crazy. Well, not crazy. She was sick one day.
Issues. Yeah. Yeah.
And then perfectly fine the next. I would get a phone call at some time during that day, and it was Angie on the phone saying, "Come pick me up."
Huh.
I was like,
wow.
Okay, this is totally new. And went by, picked her up, and then she was fine for about a couple of years. And during that time, I was building my personal brand, doing more film and TV work, doing more streaming. Did David Tentacle speedruns for a while. I was actually held world record for that for about 2 years.
Actually?
Yes.
Wow.
I was the fastest in David Tentacle Remastered for about 2.5 years.
Wow. I didn't know that. There you go.
Yeah. No, I have
an
to.
amazing game, by the way. Great game.
I want to go back to the game. I love speedrunning old adventure games.
Yeah, right.
I want to go back to doing Grim Fandango, David Tentacle. Yep. I wouldn't touch the Monkey Islands. And Indiana Jones, The Fate of Atlantis, that thing is a piece of RNG crap, which is impossible to speedrun unless you know advanced mathematics.
I totally forgot that was even a game. I just had okay, wow.
If you want to play David Tentacle, Indiana Jones, The Fate of Atlantis now, and you have old consoles, pick up the Wii version of the Staff of Pharaohs, I think it was called.
Okay.
It had a high definition remix, or high definition version of Fate of Atlantis on the disc as a bonus extra.
I didn't know any of this.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. If you want a high def remaster of of Time Splitters 2, you want the PS4 Time Splitters game. It was actually available in an arcade machine on the actual game about halfway through. There was the complete Time Splitters 2 in the actual PS4 game.
What?
Yeah.
I love Time Splitters, and this is all complete news to me. I'm
And if
definitely
you
going to
want
suss that
the
out.
high definition version of Quake 2, before Quake 2 got remastered, you
Yeah.
had to get the Xbox 360 copy of Quake 4, and it came with with a disc that had a high definition version of Quake 2.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I got some stuff to Google after this.
Oh yeah.
It's I mean, okay. Wow, you've blown my mind.
I always blow everyone's mind. I got the amount of stuff I got in my head, which is
knowledge.
absolutely useless unless I'm doing pub trivia. It's insane.
Oh yeah, wow. If they ever be like, yo, retro gaming trivia.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I think I'll be good.
Yeah. I don't know who they're messing with.
I can't reach out and get it right now, but under my screen that you see right in front of me, I have a copy of Advanced Wars of the GBA.
Yep, nice.
A copy of the Fear Files, which is Process Mandate. When Fear got released, they actually had 2 DLC chapters that weren't officially made by Monolith, and they released them physically as a collection on the Xbox 360.
What? I don't know that one either.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, all right.
It's very interesting. But so fast forward a few years, and then we go to when Destiny Forsaken got released.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this because I was playing it at the time, and my partner got sick again.
Okay.
With this whole thing.
Yep.
And then again, more. We eventually found out it was post-natal psychosis. She was given the right medication. She came back after 3 months, and that time I was stepping up my streaming because again, lonely.
Mm.
And then everything happened from there. Then I just kept doing more and more video production. I was doing more MMA work. I was doing a lot more stuff, and it was to the point where we wouldn't have to worry about money because the MMA stuff and everything else was generating enough income to live comfortably.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I was getting known in the industry around here in Queensland as a person you'll come to if you want to get your event.
Yep.
Live streamed and produced. Yes, we were doing it cheap. We still didn't have the best equipment, but we gave a good product. Yeah. And also when we made mistakes, we owned up to it. Like say, hey, this will happen at this event. We apologize. These are the steps that we're going to take to make sure it doesn't happen again. We fully understand if you don't want to use us again, but please let us know.
Yeah, as you should.
And in the MMA and Muay Thai and boxing industries, they really value being open and honest. Even if it's stuff that you don't want to tell, if there's stuff they don't want to hear, as long as they hear it, they usually give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you keep screwing up over and over again, they're not going to rehire you.
It's a trust thing. It's a trust thing. Yeah.
And that again, it comes with we wind it all back to streaming and content.
Yeah.
Be honest with your audience.
Yeah.
Don't try to sugarcoat something. If you don't feel like you can stream, don't go and stream because it's what you expected. Just be honest.
Yeah. You also find that you'll get more people that connect with you and you're because you're being honest and you can and it's like if you say because you don't want to be like, oh man, I'm the greatest at beer pong, and then someone asks you about beer pong a month later, go, I don't play beer pong. Like, oh wait, shit, I say that. It's like you want to be just honest and open and honest about it. And you'll find that as much as you might be like, oh, they might think I'm weird for, I really love pineapple in my milkshakes. Lime milkshakes is a thing that I've been dying on that hill for. Right, lime milkshakes are amazing, and people are like, but you know what? The people that like lime milkshakes, they find me, and then we bond over it because it's a weird thing that I'm about, and they're about it too. And like me and you, for example, retro games, stuff like that. We're not shy about being old. But I love that stuff like so much.
It's insane. Just having those. Hell, right up beside me right now, I've got the Xbox version of Dinotopia.
Okay.
The Xbox version of Shenmue 2.
Okay, yep.
And then I've got a couple of PS4 and PS5 games. Persona 3 Reload, Theater Rhythm, Final Bar Line, a copy of Clear for the PS4, Rift Tracks the game as a PS4 game, as a physical.
Okay.
My game collection is so big, I've got to go to the weird stuff.
Yes, I get that. Yeah. But it's sometimes that's the weird stuff that's great. And
Weird stuff goes well.
it's
Co-
yeah. And it's a weird thing, and like a lot of content creators watch this show, for example, and I think a lot of them miss out on the weird stuff because they don't think it'll be like a popular game to stream,
Oh no,
you know,
stream
and
what you're
stuff.
good at.
Stream
I
what you're
was,
passionate about. Like, love that
course,
shit.
yeah. People will come to you to watch you.
Yes.
If you have the personality to bring it out and to be honest with your stream, people will watch you and watch whatever you do.
Yeah.
If you have the knowledge to do something and you do it on stream, people will come and learn.
Yep.
Like some of my
Absolutely.
best streams when I'm streaming is when I'm doing streamerbot stuff, when I'm actively
Yes.
making a new effect for my
Yes.
stream, for my VR stream. And people go, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm going, "Okay, this is what I'm looking at, and this is the steps I'm taking it to." Then I show them a massive flowchart about how everything is supposed to go. And then I show them the coding page of StreamerBot, and this is what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Show them how the cake's made.
Yeah,
It's
show them how the cake's made. It's
it's great.
insane, and people love that.
The amount of people that
Uh,
I run into and they're like, "Oh, I'm thinking about looking into like StreamerBot or something like that." I'm like, "Oh, so you want to learn about StreamerBot? Don't talk to me. Go see MrLiveProducer. Right?
mm,
Like, just go hang out in his stream for it. You don't even need to say it. Just hang out and just see it working. Because
mm.
what always eventually happens is something will go off, like an alert will go off, and I go, "How did that happen? Well, what was that?" And then then away you go. It's great. It's beautiful. It's how it should be. It's a real sense of
It
community, helping
it's
community.
natural.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now we fast forward in time. Yeah,
Yep.
my story is long. I'm old.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's we're
But
going. We're good.
it's definitely a very interesting and unique story because it leads to what I'm doing now, which if you told me 20 years ago, I
Yeah.
would never have expected to be what I am right now. This is what's called foreshadowing, people.
Oh
Okay,
man.
so COVID. So about 2 or 3 years before COVID, I'm a member of the Brisbane Twitch community,
Yep.
and someone hopped on to the community saying, "Hey, look, my name is Karsh. I run an actual play role playing channel. We need people. We need a person to do a temporary fill out because one of our people is going away for a few months, and we need someone to fill out a fourth."
Yep.
And they went to all the different communities, and I went, "You know what? Flip it. I'm not doing anything that day. Let's send them a message." And then I created my first D&D character in about 20 years. It was a gnome accountant
Amazing. I love it.
using the Acquisitions Incorporated rule set. It was a gnome accountant, but it was a wizard, obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
and with Fireball. And eventually, the game ended with this accountant throwing a fireball inside of whiskey distillery.
Oh.
So
Oh
big
my.
bada boom.
Fantastic. So
What
good.
can I say? Nat once, not even once. So
Amazing.
at this point, we were starting a new campaign, Saints and Sinners, based off the Central Avernus, and
Yep.
the campaign. And then at this point, I got my first Twitch payout from Twitch,
Hey, let's go.
and I used that Twitch money to buy myself. Oh, to put the I used that Twitch money plus on my own to buy two books.
Okay.
One of them was the Call of Cthulhu source book, so the Rule
Okay.
Keeper's
Yep.
Handbook. And then I went, "Oh, I've got about 100 or so left over. Let's see what the Let's see what the most popular
Oh.
campaign for
Yep.
Call of Cthulhu was." It was called Masks of Nyarlathotep. I know I'm pronouncing Nyarlathotep incorrectly. Sue me.
I wouldn't know, but that's
Oh,
okay.
it's in the Cthulhu mythos. Nyarlathotep is like the god of many faces.
Right.
He
Okay.
has like, if something goes wrong in the mythos, it's usually Nyarlathotep because they can't be asked to anyone else.
Fair, fair.
So I went, oh, you know what? This is $190 Australian. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck it. You only do it once. So I bought the Call of Cthulhu source book, and then I got Master Naruto. This is important for reasons.
Okay. Yes.
So when you buy stuff from the Chaos System website, you actually get PDF. So at this point, me and my partner traveled up to Hamilton Island with her parents to have like a couple of weeks away.
Lovely place.
And while I was up there, I was on my tablet. I was reading through the book, going,
Oh yeah.
I really want to run this. And then next year happened, which everything happened to COVID.
Mm.
And I thought, well, I've got the spare time. There's no events stopping me. So I decided I'm going to run Master Naruto for the Goblin TV's channel, Goblin Cave TV's channel. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it to my level, which is complete and utterly stupid levels of detail. So
Yep.
I got the PDFs. I converted the PDFs to formats that I could copy and paste out of. And through a website called Roll20. If you don't know Roll20, it's a virtual tabletop website where you can play virtual tabletop with everyone else online. You don't have to be in the same location. Very, very useful, very, very handy. Not the easiest to work on.
Correct.
It's a challenging website to the best of abilities, but they have improved it since because reasons.
Yeah.
So during the COVID times, I slowly entered in the whole. The book itself is 666 pages, including front and back cover. That isn't intentional. I was talking to them about that a few years later.
It's got to say.
Fully intentional.
Happy coincidence. No.
Oh yeah, happy accidences. Well, the amount of Easter eggs that are in the books, even just any release of the books, is insane.
Yep.
So eventually we found a crew to play the game. So I had a time frame to actually finish putting the stuff into Roll20.
Yep. Yep.
So during this time, I was actually posting progress photos onto Reddit.
Okay.
And one of the people on the Reddit, once I finished the project, saying it is done, said, you should sell this to Calcicism. Because the amount of detail and level I went to was all the photos, everything. It looked like a professional product. And eventually I dropped Calcicism a few emails, didn't hear back. I went, you know what? Fine, let's just run the game. And then a year after we started the game in Master Naruto, the person who ran the channel, Karsh, went down to the Canberra CanCon, which is the tabletop role-playing game down in Canberra.
Yep.
And he got talking to the guys at Chaosicism. He didn't know at the time, but the person he was talking to was the person who did most of the virtual tabletop conversions at the time at the company.
Oh, yeah.
Says, one of my people on my channel put Master Naruto into Roll20. And I can only go off what he sold me. It was the guy who did the VTT, another guy's face just dropped. And said, you gonna be here tomorrow? And I can be? And he took his laptop down and showed them the campaign. And I actually made him GM for that. I made him the GM of that thing so he could go through the entire campaign and show this off. And then about a week and a half to 2 weeks later, they messaged me saying, hey, MLP, we want to buy this off you. So they bought the Roll20 project at that time.
Yep.
For Roll20 for them to sell eventually.
Awesome.
And then nothing happened. Didn't get released for a while, for more reasons. Master Naruto was a Pulp Cthulhu adjacent adventure, and Pulp Cthulhu wasn't in Roll20 at the time, but they wanted to buy all the other work. So the data entry, the images, the linking, all that stuff. So it was in production limbo for a while.
Yep.
And eventually I got to meeting them at PAX. This is why you go to conventions, people, so you meet the people.
The people that won't return your emails. You find them. You go find them in person.
You find them in person. You chase them down. If you think you've got the best product out there, you will move heaven and hell to get that product in front of the right people.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
And eventually, I got talking to David, and David Naylor is the person I report to at the company, and he was my main point of contact for a few years. And remember, all this time, I'm also at this point changing my content from speedrunning and basic flat screen games to VR games. Beat Saber, Synth Riders, all those games, and was going on a personal journey of my own to lose weight.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of weight during this time, then COVID happened, and then
That was a COVID. Yep.
COVID. In the before times when
Oh my
COVID was
God.
not a thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a canon event, unfortunately, that changed the
Unfortunately.
course of many people's
Oh,
creative
yes.
journeys. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. And look, it is what it is. But I mean, to your credit, like, and for a lot of people that and I think first episode of this podcast with Master Trainer Pete on, whose whole stick is like get fit through video games. You know, you passionate about that? You want this? Put them together.
Yeah.
Way you go. And like I said, said earlier, that the amount of times that I'd be getting ready for bed, and here's this man just smacking boxes with lightsabers, but it's such a vibe, and I dig it, and I can't I'm awful at Beat Saber. I love the game, but I'm awful. I'll probably it's just, not like you. I see you. You're like reading chat, having full on conversations while not missing a beat, and yeah, I don't. It's but I
Lots of
admire it.
practice.
Lots of
Lots of
practice.
practice.
But I also want to, and I'm glad that you actually brought it up because I did want to just touch on the fact that there's the way that you stream Beat Saber. It's like again, it's a production. It's so well set up, and I feel like it's
It's
easy to come
taken.
in and see what's going on, understand what's going on. You're there, front and center. It's great. I
Yeah, it's
really,
taken a while to get my room production to where it is now.
yeah,
And that's just through trial, error,
yeah.
working out what you want to do, camera equipment. I originally started my VR journey on the old Vive Generation
Oh,
1. The
oh,
tank of VR. The controls that if you hit a wall, the wall would break for the controller. Apart from the touchpad was absolute crap on those things.
yeah.
The rest
That
of the
was
controller was a tank. Touchpad, little China dish.
VR's come a long way.
Oh, it has.
I don't know if we're at that point where it's kind of mass accepted. Like I don't think
Not
we're quite
yet.
there.
It won't be mass accepted until a company works out the battery problem and the ease
Mm,
of use problem.
yep,
At the moment, what stops a lot of people from VR is motion sickness.
100% took the words
And
out of my
one
mouth. Yep.
and one of the reasons why people get motion sick is that they always try to use the cheapest technology inside a VR headset, and you have to have at least to 90 to 120 frames per second to negate the problems of motion sickness. So if you have an older computer and running VR and you get motion sick, your computer's not outputting the correct frames per second
Yep.
to
Or
get around the motion sickness problem.
if it's a poorly optimized or poorly designed game and they don't get the same problem. They need to have that
Exactly.
high frame rate, it needs to be smooth, and it needs to be consistent.
Oh, consistency frame rate. Which is one of the reasons why Beat Saber is so popular, because
Yes.
everything's flying towards you. There's no you have a point. You have a static point and everything's flying towards you.
Yes.
Synth
Yeah.
Riders, it does take a little bit more people getting used to, but it's a great game. Instead of hitting the
You do
slicing
the paddles
blocks,
and
you touch balls.
yeah, touch balls.
And then you got games like Pistol Whip where you shoot people to the beat of the music, which is a great game.
Fun game
And
as
it's
well.
one of the games I have Pistol Whip, Beat Saber, Synth Riders. Pistol Whip? There's another game that I would normally suggest, and I can't remember what it is right now because I haven't played it for a while.
But for people that are like, oh man, I really love video games, but I really need to get more active and get fit and whatever.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
Gamify your workout.
100%. Yep.
Even like one of the things I'm developing right now, which I'll talk about for a little bit, is a health bar system. If I miss a note, if I miss a block on Beat Saber, StreamerBot recognizes that I've missed a note. It goes and
Oh,
adjusts a health bar and reduces the health bar by 1. And that is a user shader filter I've just finished making up. So that one of the problems with OBS and everything else is to do gold bars. Gold bars in OBS are a nightmare.
Absolutely.
I've condensed a gold bar into a shader filter. So you
That
go
makes
and
sense.
you use Exceldro's user-defined shader, load up this text file, and it's there for you. You specify what your goal is, you specify what the minimum is, and you just do move value from Exceldro, where you can just adjust the values OBS raw. Simple to the point, and it's proportional.
We
So
should
if,
we should we should point out that you're not just a streamer bot user.
no, I'm not. I am, full disclosure, I am a StreamerBot ambassador. If people have
Correct.
questions, please ask me questions. I do not find any use in gatekeeping knowledge. It doesn't do
No,
anyone any
no.
good.
This is why I send people to this guy whenever they ask about StreamerBot because
Yeah. A good case in point is somebody a couple of months ago talked to me about StreamerBot and said, can we use StreamerBot to auto promote requests when we get raided? So if a person raids me
yeah.
and they do a request, in Beat Saber you can request songs.
Oh, I feel like they auto request a song. So if you come in as a raider, you get your bid up first.
Yeah, if you've raided, so if you come in raid my channel, Zombie,
I get to
it
pick the
will,
next song.
you put your request in, it will
Yep.
not only add it to the queue, it will add a message to the song saying this is a raid request from Zombie, and it'll move it to the top of the queue, all automatically without your mods doing anything. So if you are like me, like I stream late at night,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my mods usually go to sleep at relatively at a
Like normal people.
normal time. I am not normal. We already established this. And a lot of my stuff is made so it doesn't need interactions. So I don't need to actually monitor that, because sometimes when you're waving your arms around doing a 3,000 note song in 3.5 minutes, you don't have time to do shit.
Yeah, I feel that.
But that's something I am actually going to release very, very soon. That is an actual thing which
So
I'm going
cool.
to put on Coffee. I've also programmed a bot that does auto game giveaways. So if you have a certain amount of channel points in my system, my channel points record exposure, actually make exposure worth something.
Paid an exposure. Love that.
Yeah, you get paid in exposure. So if you have, I think, 10,000 exposure points on my channel at the moment, you can press the redeem for Steam game, and it will private message you a Steam game code.
Amazing.
And that's something I'll be releasing soon as well.
Huh.
And all of it is very, very customizable. So if you use it, if you adjust the coding by about two lines, you can use it for giveaways in general.
Yeah.
So you can also specify it that you have to be following for this amount of days. You have to be a sub. You can use all these triggers inside of the trigger of the command, and then it will do it all for you.
So cool. That's so cool. And like I recently had a conversation with a couple of streamers who they're blowing up at the moment, and their thing was, I need things to happen by itself. Like chat's getting too big. I'm getting too busy. I need it so that when I can't be hitting stuff on the stream deck anymore. I need that when they redeem something, it happens by itself.
Yeah,
and I can automate some things, and there's some great services out there. StreamerBot's next level, and they weren't at
You've
that
also
point.
got Macrograph. You've also got Sammy. There's so many out there, but it all depends on how comfortable you are.
Yeah, it's what you need.
One of the things I always say is StreamerBot is absolute balls on design. If you have to have a programming mentality to make StreamerBot work.
Yeah.
But once you get around that, you operate from top to bottom, each action happens sequentially, you can do amazing things in that program.
Yeah, it is. You got to sit down and you got to lock in and you got to just get it right.
That's why we go all the way back to flowchart design.
Yes,
have a flowchart about how you want everything to do, because it will help you figure out, well, what commands do I need?
Yeah, very true.
But anyway,
yeah,
go back to the whole thing. Again, long story.
Yeah.
But eventually, after PAX and all the stuff which I've been doing, I was brought on as work for hire. So I worked on maybe I contributed a lot to a lot of Roll20 projects ever since that PAX, including the first one I started working on for them was Shadow of a Providence, which was a small campaign, which was technically my job interview there.
Oh,
So
okay.
actually, do I have it here? Oh, fuck it, can't be asked. It's under like massive amounts of books and games.
Yeah, yeah.
And it became the one which they used because Master No Third Tep again was 666 pages.
Mm.
Shadow of a Providence was maybe 30 pages as a book, including
Wow.
some maps.
Yeah.
And half of that was characters. So I did a conversion of that, sent it on to them, and they said, "Yep, good, great, we'll release it." And then they decided to make extra art for it. So that wasn't the first one which I actually did was released. But long story short, for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing work with them on a work for hire basis, and now starting around the start of this year, they decided to put me on the in the company. So my
Fantastic.
official title at the company is
Yep.
Virtual Tabletop Developer.
Amazing.
So I'm a virtual tabletop developer for Chaosicism Chaosicism,
Yep.
and I work with some of the big names in the tabletop role-playing industry now. It's insane the amount of people I get to work with, and I can just go up to them and go, "Hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Any advice?"
So cool.
And I'm building my brand in that point as well. But I'm not forgetting that I'm streaming. I'm doing all this other stuff.
Yep.
And this is one of the things I always suggest: tell people, diversify your content. For the love of God, diversify your content.
Yeah.
If you stream what you want to stream. But also, don't forget about TikTok, because TikTok is blowing up. Don't
Yeah.
forget about your YouTube. Like, I haven't touched my YouTube in the last 6 months, and I got a message from YouTube today saying, "You have had one viewer."
You're like, oh yeah, shit. Things that
Yeah, I need to actually deal with that stuff. Like, I'm in the
Yeah.
middle of a brand repivot because I'm now doing virtual tabletop. I'm now doing Roll20. I'm now doing more VR. I'm doing streamerbot stuff. I'm doing tutorials. I'm doing content. There's all the stuff that I'm doing,
Hmm.
but you have to figure out at what point do you overwork yourself as well. Don't overextend yourself.
Yeah, and I think and someone asked me recently. They said, "How can you?" Because I work a day job. I have a 9 to 5. I
Mhm.
did 45 hours a week, and then I have my 5 to 9 night. But and it's like, how do you do all that and not be dead inside? And I think if I was chasing the dragon, right, and would grind and hit those numbers and do that, I think I would. I think I
Mm.
would absolutely just died off by now. But I'm not. I'm playing games that I want to play.
Mm.
I'm talking to people that I want to talk to. I'm doing things like the podcast with a passion project. Like this, I don't get paid for this podcast. It's not
God, no.
anything. I'm doing this because I enjoy having conversations with other creators and hearing about their stories and doing this. This is me stuff. So technically, as much as we're making content right now, this is my night off. But this
Yeah.
is what I want to do with my night off.
Yeah,
And
and
and that's the key.
one of the rules I always tell people is record once, use thrice. So
True.
if you're going to be doing stuff on Twitch, set your OBS to record separate audio tracks.
Yep.
Audio from you, audio from the game, and your special effects and other stuff that you have. So that when you bring it into Photoshop or your video editor of choice, you've got your audio layers. So I can upload, because most of my games are Beat Saber on stream, I can release a 20-second clip of myself doing the game without my
Yep.
voice.
Yep.
That's TikTok content. I can release a content with it with no music and just my voice and use it as highlight clips on channels.
Yeah, it's about going in with a plan. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just I turn on the camera, we're live, see what happens. It's I'm gonna do this tonight. I'm
Yeah.
recording multiple
It,
channels. These are gonna be cut up for TikTok later. I'm gonna
yeah.
upload this to YouTube.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. It's great, and I'm very much because most of my stuff is just dumb shit. It's like
Hmm.
highlights or whatever, or I'll be like I'm playing through the series, and I'll be like, oh, you must have loved the series, and then I get to the end of the series, and it's like, no, it's because I'm working on a YouTube thing. I'm going to be breaking down this and or I've got a podcast coming up. Like it's like about using that time wisely, not just using that time as I'm live and I'm not.
Like you're live, you're doing stuff, but at what point does the content that you make when you're live
Well,
use
if
once, record once, use
exactly.
thrice? again,
Yeah.
it comes from combat sports. You are at the event, you're recording your event, you're doing the event.
Live. Yep.
The event itself is recorded, and normally it goes to YouTube for the channel. It goes
Yep.
to the fighters for their fighting stuff, and it's also used by the venue to promote the next venue. But also, other fighters watch the clipped videos of that
course.
fight
Yeah.
to learn about the opponents for their next fight.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
again, from all this point of view, is at what point did you want to take your content, and what do you classify as success on your content?
Exactly.
Knowing what your
yeah.
success is and how it drives you
Yep.
will help drive your content.
Exactly. So if you know where you want to get to, then it's just a matter
Exactly.
of what you have to do. And I think that's important. And like I've automated like clipping systems and clipping stuff like that. And the comment was made the other day. It's like, Dan, your channel's got a lot of clips. I'm clipping everything because I might use it, I might not, but
Yeah.
I want that clip there. And
Yeah.
I like we're looking for a clip, and I'm like it's halfway through the year, and I've done 450 clips on my channel
Yeah.
already this year, and it's just and out of that, it was probably 50 clips that have made it to like TikTok and YouTube and whatever.
Yeah,
And
but
like
it's
my
those 50 clips that build your brand.
exactly. Exactly. And
And
some of
this
them
is
might not be like wow, that's the most, production setup, it's 3-act clip, whatever. No, it's just that reminding people that you exist and that you're playing this game right now. Because then
oh
they'll
yeah.
come and see your channel next week and go, "Hey, I saw you playing so and so." Like I just got a new camera and I did some silly stuff on the camera, and then like it attracts me as I walk around the room, and I just tracked it as it went to me, followed me to go to the fridge, and then I just ate a bag of cheese. And the amount
Is
of
that
people have come and
is that
told
the
me
ObSpot tail air, or is that the ObSpot
it is the tail air.
I have 3 of them. I'm using them at work now. They
How good
are
are they?
they are the perfect for a boxing or a ring show. They are the perfect amount of distance. I I turned that off because I'm a hand talker. When I'm at meetings and I'm doing talking, I'm waving around my hands. I sometimes do like this, and then it just starts to follow you and it's going, "What the? Oh, bloody camera!" So now I'll switch on my Stream Deck.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, these cameras are awesome. I have 3 of them. Again with the NDI, even I'm taking all 3 of these down to PAX this year,
I'm taking mine to PAX for sure. So
and
good.
they are great cameras. I'm not sponsored by them, but they do 1080 60 or 4K 30.
Correct.
1080 60 or at least minimum 50 is what you want for combat sports. That way you get the motion and the movement that you need in the show.
Yeah,
But again, they're the right amount of field of view, which is the
yeah.
amount. Like at the moment, I'm running an ObSpot tail at the moment, and this is zoomed in by 1.4. It is such an amazing FOV. You don't
Yeah,
need to have it that close. But the
yeah.
FOV is just about right for a boxing ring. If you have it in one corner, it will get 90% of the ring. And then you just use the phone app. You double click on the fighter you want to follow, and it will follow that fighter most of the time.
I,
So you can
you're the
have.
first. You're the first person I've met that's actually familiar with the product.
Oh god,
Right.
no, they're great.
And
Um,
this is amazing. I'm blown away again.
hell, just to show you, I'm not kidding. That's the case that
Yeah,
the cameras come
yeah,
in.
yeah. Yeah,
This,
I've got
like, I
what's
have,
the red box there? It's right
yeah,
there.
I key rings with the actual
Oh
IDs and
my
everything on
god.
them, so you actually know what cameras are what. And
Yep.
the I've got them with the NDI thing as well, so the
Yeah, I
wireless
got that as
NDI,
well. Yeah.
cabled NDI. They run off as a standard USB camera, like UVC.
Yeah, that's right.
If they're on the same network, you can control it through your flipping phone.
So good.
It's insane. Actually, they
So
just
good.
released SRT support for it now.
Hmm?
Secure Reliable Transport. There's another update. I haven't updated all my cameras to yet. And there's also the ObSpot Cloud that they just released,
Oh,
which
okay.
means that you
Cool.
can use these as multicast devices on when
Oh,
you're at events, and it
so
can
you can cloud
multicast where
them.
you need to take them to.
Oh.
So if you have three of these cameras, you can ship up a Pelican flight case with these cameras to an event in the regional areas. You send them like a Nighthawk M1 or M4 network drive, about 100 gig of data transfer, and you've got yourself a remote system, which you don't need to be there for. You can still control everything from your
Is
home
amazing.
machine because it's NDI, and you can do everything you
Amazing.
want. It's
Amazing.
insane the amount of equipment that productions now have, which even for a professional like me, will
Yeah.
save me a lot of time because one of the
Yes.
reasons we film MMA combat sports is that there is a visual recording of anything that goes wrong during an event. I've seen my fair share of knockouts and everything else. I've seen elbows go the wrong way.
Yeah. You're essentially the third referee. They're the camera. You go to
Pretty
the camera.
much.
Yeah.
And I've actually been every now and again I'll be talked to by the ref saying, "Hey, can we get this footage? We want to make sure that we've done everything that we can, or use it as teaching materials to train the next lot of refs to how to handle this type of situation." And they need the footage, and they come to me for that stuff.
That's so amazing. You have no idea how just blown away I am from the whole thing. And like to the point that I was sort of saying, it's like I was streaming, did a silly bit on the stream, cut it down, post that up, and then people now message me going, "What's that camera?" And it's like, and once you get to a level where you're like, you can just see it's like seeing the future. It's like seeing the force, right? You're just like, oh, I know there's a thing coming up. I can do this silly bit. I'm going to cut that out later and I'll post it up on TikTok. It'll do really well. And you see the
There's
numbers. It's
yeah,
coming.
there's new things for OBS, which is like chapter markers. Nutty just released a video about
Yeah, I
explaining
saw
that.
that.
You've got people like Fine Art Singularity who are releasing really, really good plugins for like old retro effects and drop shadows and
Yes.
strokes and all this stuff. We are in the perfect time at the moment to be content creators because people are just making tools. And it's so easy to make a regular tool. Like I, with hardly any programming knowledge, using skills and lots of trial and error, did a health bar system, which I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I've also made a pie chart, which is exactly the same thing, but it's a pie chart.
We're,
So many
like,
tools can be made right now with the right skill set.
yeah, and I mean the comment I would make, and I've made it a few times, that right now is the easiest time to be creating content. Like the fact that, and I'm mindful of time, we do need to wrap up soon, but like if you go back to the start of this podcast and what we're talking about with analog editing and not being able to run RCA cables far enough, and then at the
Oh
end of it,
god.
we have self-tracking 1080p 60 frames a second, buddy,
Yeah.
cloud enabled camera doing everything like that that was a fantasy back then.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even know it was a thing that was even possible.
And
Someone who's like
even
getting started now in content creation, this is their option. This is their analog.
yeah. But wind it all back to the starting point of your content creation journey. What drives you? What makes you want to do this? If it's for money, if it's for likes, if it's for social clout, you're not gonna get far. You
Yeah.
do it because you feel the passion for the what it is. Do you want to convey who you are to your audience? Are you good at a video game? Are you doing speedruns? Are you doing anything? Like we just had Games Done Quick finish up.
Yeah.
The amount of people at Games Done Quick who have generated audiences and their own community based on playing off a 25-year-old game that only 3 people remember.
Yep.
It's absolutely insane. Like I wouldn't be where I am right now without me deciding, again, all the way to a virtual tabletop developer at Chaos System. I'm horrible at pronouncing that name. As a virtual tabletop developer at Chaos System, who's going to get Mask and Naruthotep released soon, TM. Two-Headed Serpent, another one which I did as another one, which I was learning how to do Roll20 program, and that's what helped dictate pricing structure. Like I did, it's like a regular 300-page book, but I timed myself how long it took me to do it, and that dictated how much I would charge for it. Know your worth. And
Yeah.
then, if I didn't, at one point said, "Bugger this for Gamer Soldiers. I'm lonely. I'm bored. Let's stream." On an old Logitech C520 camera on not this headset per se, but an Audio Technica BPHS1 headset
Right.
running into a, a UMC 404 HD DAC from Behringer.
Wow.
And I was using those at the time because I was doing remote work.
Yeah.
I don't use me and my equipment as an excuse, because I was doing live stream at the time and I was doing a lot of research about equipment. But people will come for you and your content. People will come to you and how relatable, how you approach yourself. But also as a creator, you are your brand. Monitor everything you do, monitor everything you say, approach everything as you are a business.
Mm.
Be careful on your socials. You're a public figure soon as you decide to press live.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
have that capacity and knowledge and power, for lack of a better term, to influence people. So use that power for good, not evil. And be very, very careful. Be very, very aware that people will go back in your history trying to find something on you. As someone who I haven't had happen to me, but you see it a lot of times. A comment that one person has made 20 years ago
Mm.
has always resurfaced and has destroyed
Yeah.
people's career. But own your mistakes. And if it does do stuff to you, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. And you got to be prepared that when you want to be, if you want to assume the role of public figure, then you
Yes.
need to act like public figure,
You're a public
and
figure.
you will
You
be
are.
you'll be judged by the masses, and they'll treat you accordingly. So
Yeah.
basically, what it comes down to.
And it comes down for me as well, because I work in the film and TV industry, and in my area of the industry, it's made of a lot of older people who don't understand the current
Absolutely.
uh sensibilities of the day.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. But it's like, and yeah, I don't think there's much more to be said about that. It's just that is what it is, and I think the important thing is that you know who you are and who you want to be, and you stick to your morals and stick to your guns.
Exactly.
Um, and
But also
and
be the change you need be the change you need in the industry. If you see
exactly,
something wrong, speak up. If you see something that you can fix and improve, do it. Don't say this is trash for no reason. Say this is trash. This is how I fix it. Yeah, I'll help you.
yeah,
Be willing
constructive
to
criticism.
take your time. Like after I do a stream on Beat Saber, normally I sit down on the computer and spend like 5-10 minutes just winding down, because after 3 hours of Beat Saber, you just get absolutely
It's a lot.
wrecked.
Yeah.
You just want to sit down for like half an hour and just veg and do nothing. And then you
Yep.
get people coming into stream, in my stream at least, saying, "Hey, MLP, again, this is taken all the way back to the streamer bot. How do I do this?"
Mm.
Then I would actually just do. I've actually done like a 3 hour stream of Beat Saber, then 5 hours in streamer bot teaching somebody how to do what they've requested,
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
and not only just explaining, well, you do this and this. You explain the reasons why you do something like this,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
because if you,
They gotta understand the context. It's as simple, and it's the
yeah,
amount of times like, yeah, I could do that for you, or I could explain how you do it and why it works that way.
yeah, like fully comment in your code. If you're doing
Oh
C
my god,
sharp.
yeah. Yeah.
Even if you don't know how to comment code, just use something to read it and comment it for you.
True, yeah. Yep.
But where I am now, to where I was, and even just before that, think of everything that you've done to get you to the next point. One decision you make when you're 14 years old to say, yes, I'm going to do this, has led me to work in some of the biggest names in the TTRPG industry.
Mm.
And me saying yes to like a guest spot on a person's a channel said has gotten me to where I am right now.
Yeah.
Me saying yes to a person who said, "Hey, you're free this weekend. You want to film some MMA," has gotten me to where I am right now.
Yeah.
Your content journey is a reflection on your journey as yourself. I think it's probably the
Absolutely.
best place to wrap it up there.
Absolutely. Uh,
It's like it's my
I'm
job.
I'm flabbergasted. But you're there's not much more to be said. I mean, you've pretty much wrapped it up. But it's important to note, and a very big part of this show is remember where you come from, and remember that the things that might have been a struggle back then, but you figured it out, you've overcome it, you've come forward, and it's important to sometimes just sit back and go, maybe I feel like numbers quite not quite there, or something's not quite right, or whatever. But you can also remember all the good stuff that has happened, and all the good decisions, and all the things that we've overcome, and all the progress that we've made, because everyone's come a long way. Um,
And especially nowadays, numbers is not the
Not at
thing
all.
you focus on.
Not at all.
It's your audience and your interactions with your audience. If you're an honest and forthright person, audience will see that. Audience will latch onto that and will see it as you.
Yep. 100%. So thank you for coming onto the
Thank
podcast.
you.
Live producer, pretty much everywhere. Just look up Mr. Live Producer, you'll find him.
Yep.
And obviously, keep an eye out for those Roll20.
Oh god, yes. For those in the know, they'll say, "Wait, you did this." I did a lot of it. Other people have done other work, but also it's absolutely insane the amount of work that goes into a book. I can tell you that now. I'm
Yeah.
on the other side, and I can. If it wasn't for NDAs, I could tell you stories.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But it would just absolutely, you check out the handiwork, and absolutely support Mr. Live Producer everywhere you can find him. And if you have made it this far in the podcast, thank you. Please give us a like, please give us a follow, a subscribe, whatever you can, and leave a comment. If there's a particular producer, a particular creator or a producer, even, and I don't care. Like, anyone who's sort of a creative that you'd love to see on the show, leave a comment, and I'll reach out to them, and we'll be back for another episode. Thank you so much, Mr. Live Producer, for being here. It's been a fantastic chat. I've got some gaming Easter eggs to look up, and catching your content, and I'll no doubt see you at PAX.
Oh yeah, go in there.
Yeah,
You never know. I might be actually going as part of Chaos System as well.
I'll be working.
Oh gods, no! I'm still deciding. Probably will be working. There's like stuff going on. It's going to be a very interesting convention this year.
So if
And
you
hopefully,
see,
if you see me, talk to me. I'm
Yeah,
not
come
as
say hello.
scary as I look like in real life. Trust me. Apparently, I give off scary dog energy to people.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great time, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye, everyone. And we're done.